Hey there YouTube. Today I'm going to show you how I hooked the winch up to my Yamaha Moto-4 225. To honor the tradition of never finishing a project in the daylight, sorry about the darkness there, but basically I just took an aluminum plate and clamped it on with steel clamps. You can see this plate was already used. It had some holes in it, and then plus I misdrilled a hole. So it kind of looks like Swiss cheese, but it gets the job done. It's 1/2 inch thick aluminum, so should be good. I didn't have any steel, but aluminum's lighter, and it's only a 400-pound four-wheeler. So I just wanted to get a shot of it for you before I put the winch on, so you could see. I got the 2 holes. Again, it only requires 2 holes, 1, 2, but I misdrilled. So. Oh, and the mounting plate here, it was so tight up in here. I actually had to cut some of the mounting plate because otherwise the winch would have hit this bolt on the side of the actual winch. Be sure to dry fit everything before you go crazy drilling holes, because yeah, I could have probably just used the hole that was in the winch bracket here, and yeah. And I wouldn't have had to cut this, really, but I cut this before I figured out that it was going to hit over here. So there's a rubber band around the winch to hold it tight. Do not undo that rubber band until it's installed on your quad, because it will forcefully unwind like a spring. So yeah, be very careful. Do not have your fingers in there when you're undoing the rubber band. I'm going to put this on the left handlebar. That way I can work the throttle while I'm pushing the button with my left hand. And so I just went ahead and ran the wires down through here, making sure that it's free of the pivot point. And there's a nice little hole right there to put everything through. So I'm gonna get underneath of it and route the wires and zip tie them and everything. As you can see, installing this winch in here is cutting it pretty close. I could slide this bracket up a little bit, but then it would rub against the front brake thing there. But there's just enough room to clear the tire. Maybe an inch. And that's even with putting the winch slightly off center to give it more space. I had to actually cut the winch mounting plate because the brackets there didn't have a whole lot of room. It's a tiny ATV with a big winch. I routed the cable down through under the gas tank. There's a little track over the carb, and then back here right to the battery. There is no slack. So there's that much slack. Barely enough to get it to the handlebar where I want it. So here's the finished product. Put on the little hand saver that they give you that's made out of like super thin material. So you see I had to install the fair lead at a little bit of an angle because the plate is at a little bit of an angle. I'm a little worried about there being so many wires coming up through here and getting caught with the other stuff, but short of drilling a new hole through the plastic, I'm just going to have to live with it and see what happens. This issue could have been avoided if I would have bought a winch that had thinner control cables, like with a box that you put underneath that does the actual high voltage switching, but since they did it this way and everything's in the remote, I guess this is what I gotta live with. I still have full rotation. Alright, let's go winch. So here's the first test. Got myself a tree saver by TGL. Then I got it clipped on to a 4,000 pound D-ring here. Then I have two 50-pound bags of concrete on the front and two 50-pound bags of concrete on the back. And I weigh about 200 pounds. So in addition to the four-wheeler that weighs 470, we should have about 1,000 pounds here. Well, 900 pounds. Plus the weight of the winch, which was like 25 pounds, I think. So let's do this. So I have so much weight on it that it's actually twisting the wheel really bad, and I can't pull it up this hill sideways or I'm going to break the suspension in the front. So now that it's up here, I'm going to try to spin the back tires with all the weight on it. Alrighty, so I took up the hill. The mount didn't flex at all. I think that this will get me through some mud. So that's it for the video on installing this winch bracket. My next video will be a review of this winch, where I will hang this four-wheeler from a tree. So stay tuned for that.
and thanks for watching.